innovative.
Stick the jab.
Come on, you bum.
Yeah, bum rock. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm your host, your co-host, Bolo Yin, here with Tony Grams.
Tony Grams,
And
Mr. High and Fly.
Yes, and this is our first episode of Innovative Boxing, a show dedicated under innovative culture, under the umbrella of innovative culture. Check out innovative culture, go on all your streaming networks, as far as YouTube, social media,
IG,
everything, Twitter, everything. Google that innovative culture, and this is our first sports segment on boxing. I'm your host Bolo Yin, here with Tony Grams. Tony, how you doing, bro?
pretty good. Just chilling. Got up early, was watching my little boxing shits and looking at the news, seeing the little stories going and.
So you like watch boxing updates?
Yeah, I watch like everything, even not just boxing, not just main events, but I watch like even my algorithm is picked up to what it'll just show me like fighters out of Stockton fighting in like a warehouse in a ring with like 50 people and be a YouTube stream or somewhere in TJ. So I literally watch. I watch boxing as long as it's good shit, and I don't like mismatches, which is what a lot of boxing, mainstream boxing is now. Is a lot of it's profitable kind of in mismatches. So, but I mean,
you never know in this sport.
Yeah,
you never know.
I feel like it used to be that, but now because it would be mismatches of this guy isn't a known, he's not a marquee name, but we recognize his skill and his technique and his talent. Now it's who the fuck is this?
Right,
and it's like against a world-class athlete that should have be tested by another world-class, and it's kind of like they're giving. Right. I felt like in all, not just one boxer, but it's a lot of that in every weight class of almost. It's not even. It used to be seemed like maybe guys being fed to a big, well-known fighter, but now it seems just. Like they're just trying to make this person look good. It's like a difference with showcase fights.
You never know though.
And
you never know. You could try to make a person look good or try to carry them to a certain point, but you never know who shows up ready, who's hungry, who's desired.
That's true.
Who's not. But
that does work and sometimes show like against who's supposed to be the main showcase fighter. When you see they look like they're struggling with somebody that you don't even know who this dude is, or he's on his last legs, or this dude's been injured, or he already got dropped, and they're still kind of
right.
And it's like, damn, you should have got this guy out of here like 3 rounds ago, and it went to a decision. So it does sometimes work against when cherry picking goes wrong, pretty much.
When cherry picking goes wrong,
man,
that's the next topic for the next episode. We're already rolling. If you're just tuned in, thank you for coming to Innovative Boxing, a show dedicated to just the sweet science, and we're going to eventually talk about everything when it comes to defense, offense, some of the greats, some of the worst, some boxing riots that may have happened in history, great upsets, great underdogs, guys that you may have thought, were great champions in time, maybe dream matchups. If you have any of those questions or anything on this sports show, we love to get the output from our fans, that's tuning in with us. So please, feel free to DM us and give us some topics or what you think about the show. We'll love to hear it, even if it's hate. Need it all.
All of it.
Yeah, but hey, I like that Rocky theme song, Cam, man. Like growing up, I watched Rocky a lot. What is it, like 9 Rocky movies?
It's the original 5, and then there's Balboa that they added in with the one where he fought Tarver.
Really?
So that's like 6, and then it's the 2 Creeds. So
7, 8.
Yeah. So and then they're supposed to be making another Creed. So
right.
Because Creed is pretty much like the new just Rocky. So they're gonna probably do 5 of those same way, like do a bunch of Michael B. Jordan throwing hands.
Yo, Adrian. Adrian.
They already gave him his girl.
My house stinks.
She worked at the pet store. I didn't like the first one, but I liked all the rest of them. I love, like I said,
right.
3.
And Apollo was like just shocked that just some random dude. Like he was like, well, if you can't fight, at least we know you can cook, right?
Italian stallion. He was like, who is this?
Paulo was
Italian
real mad.
Stallion.
The second one, right?
Like the name of that. Like that name.
And then Mick just had him ducked.
But see,
right?
But you
all
notice,
of Rocky 3, he was just knocking out all
But you know what he
told me?
I didn't notice that till I got older. That's what Mick. It's a scene. It's like shit when you watch movies when you watch them 100,000 times, whatever. When you were a kid, teenager, but when I guess in life experience, watching shit, different, whatever, and as an adult, I remember watching Rocky. I was watching them all again, and I was watching 3 maybe about 5-6 years ago. And then the shit he's telling them after Mr. T shows up at the press conference or at the statue unveiling,
Clubber Lane.
And then he goes off and I'm the number one challenger.
He said, "Don't give him no statue, give him guts."
Yeah, this nigga been ducking me, and he's going off and all that. So the shit I never well, not that I didn't understand. I just it didn't sink in. And then I seen it. What he said was, when Mick was telling him he wasn't going to give him a shot, and Rock was like, "Why can't I fight him?" And then he's telling him like, we've been pretty much giving you like
handpicked.
Yeah, and then he was like, the guys take dives? He said not dives, but guys that pretty much just shouldn't have been in there with you.
They're bums.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what the entirety of the majority of boxing is. It's almost what it's come to now. It was a bit of that before. Because you got to think it was like, I used to look at like Top Rank was all showcase fights until they got big fights. If you think of like all Top Ranks, they would put like named Manny or whoever they had, Terrence, against people you knew, but kind of was like whatever.
Belt system ruined that.
And then it was like, then they would have a big super fight and have that person fight somebody else.
That's all those multiple belts.
Yeah, exactly.
If it wasn't for those multiple belts,
all those stupid ass,
then there wouldn't be no super big money fights. You gotta realize each division there's 4 belts.
There's 4 belts and there's 4 belts in every 3.
4.
There's 3. For the intern, there's the super, regular, and intern.
No. WBO.
No. Okay, you talking about the actual? Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying, but now that was already enough. So now it's like we're doing cross. The
regular champ.
So you have 4 belts and 3 people to get 4 belts.
Right.
That's like weird as fuck. But not all of the sanctioning bodies have a belt for every. There's no super, and I think there's only the WBC's only goofballs that do that shit, But everybody wants the green belt. Most of these younger dudes, they want to take a picture holding the green belt, and they want the one. It's just the trophy.
Belt.
It's the trophy that just people want to hold up, opposed to when you get those other belts and you got to work for them and go overseas and do all that other shit for them. So I just see now it's like it just doesn't make sense. It'll be like champion versus champion, and you've never heard of either one of these dudes. And it'd be like, that don't make sense when then there's another champ that you've heard of and watched this person earn their status of champion. You watch them take knockdowns or whatever the fuck they took to become a champ, stay a champ, and then it's like they're just almost kind of brushed aside. It's almost like with a lot of people how UFC took a lot of backlash for the heavyweight interim. They just introduced the interim title and then everybody's like, Ngannou's the fucking champ. He knocked dude out, but he didn't want to fight in September, so they just created an interim title and had 2 dudes fight for it. And even those dudes, the guy that won it, him and his manager was like, we already Francis is a champ. Like he's holding the belt and saying, this is just saying I'm like the number 1 contender. Right. But he knows like this dude is not even certified.
But there we go. See, you ain't certified. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. What is the deal with all these belts?
Man,
but what's going on?
It's just money. That's it. That's money, really, honestly, the bottom root of it. You could get to that. It'd be just
pound for pound, best fighter in the world right now.
I guess you can. I mean,
why you gotta think that hard?
Because it's like I don't like to hate on people when I feel like they have fought. Like Canelo, you could say it's Canelo, and then like heavyweight has never had a pound for pound. That's the funny thing. They've never had because their pound for pound applies just for everybody under heavyweight. But so because it's like
they have had a pound for pound.
I've never seen a heavyweight. I've seen people can make one, but officially there's no pound for heavyweight. It's never been one officially. I'm sure they only had a list, But if pound for pound applies, literally for everybody under heavyweight.
If you win Fighter of the Decade,
you can win, but you can win that, and that's what I'm saying. That's a totally. But as far as the actual, even ESPN from everybody from the official pound for pounds, it never has a heavyweight in it. It's always like even now. I think Canelo moved up at one point. He was like 7 or something, and they had a lot of Chocolatito was like #1 pound for pound, like 4 years ago. Remember Chocolatito? Yeah. And like this was 122. He was winning. He had to make his comeback after what was the dude? What's the little Filipino dude? That knocked him out.
He came back and whooped him.
No, he beat him. He beat him twice.
Chocolatito, the champ, right?
Well, he had to come back a third time and beat him, or either he beat that dude. God, what is his name? He knocked him out. He knocked him out in the. Or he dropped him, and I think he got a decision in the first one, and then he knocked him out in the second one and retired him. That's when they said he had brain damage. He fucked Chocolatito up bad. His name Ringvasel. It's like Ringvasal. It's like a Filipino name, Ringvasel or some shit. But he battered that dude like twice, and then he retired him the second time.
So it ain't no pound to pound. It ain't no pound to pound.
Not for heavyweight.
No pound for pound.
Now I'll say.
I'm talking about right now.
I'll say in my opinion, I'll just go do that just because I know officially I don't see one. And they'll try to say it was Wilder, but that's bullshit. And to me, it's got to be AJ. It's only
pound for pound.
I mean, if you look at it, he's the only person. He avenged the only loss he had. It could have been Fury, but you took the titles from Klitschko and then you just fucked off. And then you could look, but I mean, you came back. You have a draw. That's
you got AJ,
but you
ranked
still
higher over Fury, bro.
He's fought everybody in that. Even the lead-up fights for Fury to Wilder, he was fighting no names. He fought a lot of no names up until his fight was just a warm up. No, I'm saying of course, but Carlos Takam, but they were still.
AJ fought more light heavyweights than all of them.
But he still fought more top 10.
AJ's
Joseph Parker.
A light heavyweight. Moved up to heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight killer.
Joseph Parker was low-key bigger than like...
Joseph Parker moved up from light heavyweight.
And he fought same shit, Andy Ruiz.
I mean, not light heavyweight,
and they all fought each other. That's my point where I always look at Wilder of like he dodged most of the heavyweights. There's no reason there's a top 10 to 15 of heavyweights, and they've all fought each other once, twice, and some of them are going on a third award because the first two were such good fights, and you haven't fought none of these dudes other than Fury. That makes no sense in heavyweight. And when they try to say there's all these dudes from Dylan White, I think Dylan White was like
heavyweights. You got to realize, whoever gets that belt, you take it across the back of that pond, and you don't. Whoever you fight only your countrymen.
But that's not true for AJ.
In America, it is.
AJ's the only dude at 17-0 went all over. They built a stadium for him in Dubai just because he's not just.
The time AJ fought in America, he got his ass.
But that was the first time Madison Square Garden. That was Madison.
The first time he fought in America,
that was the one loss, and then he came back and beat the shit out of dude.
It don't matter.
Smashed him.
That was a dive.
Took his title back.
That was a dive.
He split him open with like the first two punches.
He came in at 3:30, bro.
Even he said he was like, bro, I started partying.
Bro.
My dad was telling me like his dad even said he got out of hand. He won a title, which happens to every fighter. It happened to Conor McGregor. It did. It happened to. He won a title. It happened to Fury. It happened to Fury.
Andy Ruiz first. No.
It literally happened. He beat Klitschko and wilded the fuck out and had to retire. It happened to Ricky Hatton. It happens to a lot of dudes. Win or loss, they fuck up and they lose their fucking mind.
So you mean to tell me, on the biggest rematch of your fighting career,
you think you got this nigga's number,
you're gonna blow back up. I mean, if you think you got this
nigga's number,
you're gonna go from 280 to
self-control.
Nah, bro.
This is what him and his pop said it, bro. He said he was like, dude. His pops was like he was out in L.A. partying. He was doing his thing.
No.
Like, you gotta think this nigga's like
the theatrical part.
I mean,
that's the theatrical part.
Of course, there's other shit, but I really don't think.
That's the dive.
Dude, AJ busted him open. He was leaking off the first two punches. When they rung the bell, he hit him, and the nigga was cut.
All right,
so that's not a dive. Like, he literally came out to let off on that dude.
So if you cut somebody like that, why you didn't stop him?
I mean, he was like, shit, you fighting. AJ doesn't have the best chin. He does have, a lot of people say that he doesn't have enough heart to get, I mean, he had heart enough to get up and stop Klitschko. If you take a lot of people, and nobody did for 10 years, but this nigga took a knockdown from Klitschko, got up and stopped him.
Klitschko's a bum.
But I mean, he did fight. To me, he's fought more no-names. We've known maybe a sprinkle of names in the Klitschko resume that were actually legitimate like solid contenders. Layman Brewster. I can't even think of no other real like Alexander Povetkin. He won ESPN Fighter of the Year because I was watching. That's when boxing used to be on ESPN every Friday. And Povetkin did. He went through every day, whole little list. He was knocking dudes out. Number one. That was actually the prize. You got to fight with Klitschko, and he got with Klitschko, but that height advantage is what Klitschko always used. And Fury was the first person to tell him that of pretty much you
thinking
can't
of Fury. What did you think about Fury Wilder 3?
To me, it's really no purpose of it because it's the same shit's gonna happen, probably even worse. And anything is possible in boxing. A punch, especially at heavyweight, one punch can change everything in any weight, really, but especially at heavyweight. Well, but I really don't think he has the tools. He showed he doesn't have the tools.
Well, I don't agree because with training and preparation, anything can change.
But then he said he didn't. He said, "Oh, okay, if this nigga cheated, if he spiked his water, he bribed Breland, he had loaded gloves, unpadded gloves, he had a pistol on him, all kind of shit." But why would you have to get a rematch? And if he did all that, why would you have to change trainers? If that man did all that to you to beat you, you don't need to change trainers. You have all the tools to beat him, which I believe he doesn't.
Right.
And he proved he doesn't twice. You lost. You have the tool to knock a nigga the fuck out, and that's really one of the main ingredients in boxing. But when you fight somebody that has every fucking tool, head movement, like they're literally faint, and you don't know shit about that because you so used to just standing looking like Cell from Dragon Ball Z dropping.
Fighting
dudes.
is 80% mental.
Mental, exactly. And when a dude,
really more than that.
Dude is bigger than you, and you usually bigger than everybody else, and I know that from experience. When you see somebody bigger than you, and you bigger than everybody else, and they like that shit is like the fuck, like so. I'm sure that fucked him up. Off of like, damn, this dude on top of he came in even bigger than last time, and he was out of shape big the first fight. That was off the coke and just fucking up life. And came back at like 40. I'd give Fury, he was at 60% that first fight, if that, 55. I'd give him 55%, and he won pretty much 10 and a half rounds.
Ain't no telling. That might have been him off fear. That might have been him at his best.
Exactly, but still, he was totally out of weight and totally out of shape. He came in the second fight bigger, but he was fully in shape. And that's what he did to Wilder. Like, nigga had him leaking out his ear, busted his eardrum, dropped him with a body shot.
If it was easy for Fury... See, the way the body work, I think he was off the juice, bro.
It could be.
They let him
I've always had a theory that everybody is. Not just one.
I've seen a lot of Fury's fights
in every sport.
And when he was younger, Fury ain't never been that big. He ain't never been that muscular ever.
He was like, why? Because he's only
Fury
like, the nigga's not
Fury
old.
Wasn't big like
the nigga's
that,
only
bro.
like 30. Like what, 31?
He's 30.
Yeah, the nigga was when he was like 26 knocking niggas out. He was like a fucking tank when he still had his hair.
He not no
I remember that.
Shit.
Like I just remember
no puncher.
I just mean like man,
Fury's
he used to like
puncher,
those
bro.
no-name British motherfuckers he was beating up. He was fucking them up.
But he's not a puncher. He's always
uppercutting himself.
He's always been a boxer. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean with the gypsies, that's what they do. They fight.
He's always been a boxer.
That's what they're about, just fighting. Period. So that's what, like Billy Joe Saunders, same shit.
The gypsies don't have no home.
They exactly. They say they just move because they treated like pretty much a lot of some people say they treated like us, but that might be a different story. But the fact is, their whole shit is based on fighting. It's always been based on fighting, respect, and who's the best fighter is the person with the most.
Who's
respect.
the best fighter out of Ugas and Pacquiao?
Honestly, I can't say. I haven't even watched a lot of the Ugas.
Pacquiao gonna beat.
I'm sure he will.
Pacquiao's gonna beat him. But
they won't be
Ugas
easy.
has a better chance than Arrow did.
I would say that just off of the accident, Arrow. A lot of people saying he faking an eye injury.
No.
You don't think he's faking it? Like
he fucked his eye up in the car.
But then why would it just all of a sudden like right now? That's the weird part. It's been fine. He was at the fight where they were just interviewing him. He was chilling and doing his thing, drunk. What was that? 3 weeks ago at
maybe he didn't want to take the dog.
Charlo and what's his name? Charlo and the one Charlo lost low key against Castano. Tony? Brian Castano.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think Castano won? Do you believe it was a draw?
It was a draw. I watched that fight very closely.
I watched it like 3 times, and it was like I felt like a draw could be okay, but I felt Castano kind of did ease it out. He eased it out.
He didn't do enough.
He didn't do enough to finish it. Yeah, he didn't.
Not to take the belt.
Yeah, just I felt. Yeah, I can say that.
You can't barely.
But then there's a lot of that when they say that, and I'm looking at like
you can't squeak the champ with crumbs, bro. You can't squeak the champ.
Rogan on his podcast said something a couple years ago. He said that's always been a saying. You have to beat the champ, and he goes, I think that's bullshit. Of like you have to how they need to try to do this whole judging shit, because if a guy just in the fact if you're the champ and I'm the contender, but if I hurt you and you don't hurt me at all in this fight, that's bullshit that I have to take you out. I literally visibly hurt you multiple times, and you didn't do shit to me, but you still get to walk away with the belt. That's bullshit. And I honestly agree with that. If I see it's an even, system. It's just because and I feel that is why Charlo that too. But then I still see that is how Charlo got away with the shit, because he did kind of like walk him back down later in the fight and caught him, but he didn't finish him off. So it goes both ways. But if this dude kind of
Charlo's, I don't like Charlo.
I don't like either one.
I like the one that
kind of like
the other one's better.
Which one? The 154 or 160? 160.
One at 160.
Yeah,
he's better.
Because look at his opposition he's fighting though. He has more
way better competition.
And that's what I always say about when you see people test themselves at these weight classes. Like you just said, he's a better fighter because look what's all floating around from 160 up. And he's trying to get those fights either from Danny Jacobs to who might come back. Or
I think if Charlo fought Tony Harrison again, he'll lose.
Yeah, I think so. My uncle
Tony was beating him the second time.
Hardly watches boxing, and like my whole family's from Detroit. So when I was watching the press conference at the house, and he heard Tony Harrison just talking shit, and he was like, "He's from Detroit," so he was just immediately just on it. So he literally followed through, watched the fight. And when he won, and was like, yo, he won. So he actually, that's how a lot of casual fans are created in boxing too, because he didn't know shit about Charlo.
You gotta identify and he just saw me from the area where you're from.
And then he liked the fact that he was talking shit. Then he liked the fact that he won, backed his shit up. And then when they had a rematch, he was like, oh, it's gonna be a good one. So he even asked me again, are they gonna fight again? So I believe probably Harrison can get him, because they seem like they just don't have a gas tank to like go hard, like a lot of other fighters. When you see these other fighters that just smash through, yeah. When you see other fighters kind of smash through,
they don't gotta have a gas tank.
It's not even that they gas out, or it's like
it's their style.
It's like not enough. It's like they do. It's like I want to look good at certain moments, but the moments aren't enough to really look like you did enough. It's like a cool little combo here and there is nice. But you really have to like. I didn't know he finished D-Rock off, and I forgot which one.
They do enough.
They do, but
they knock everybody out. Bro.
But it's like, oh no.
And if they don't knock you out, they're gonna get outboxed and outclassed.
Exactly. That's pretty much it. I think that's what I mean.
That's it's that typical cowboy style.
It's just like we're gonna shoot it out, and then
there's really no class. Like, there's really no. Yeah, they're gonna get a shot. They're just looking for a couple big punches, you know what I'm saying?
And even the fact to see how Charlo got into it with Wilder over what even him saying like stop making excuses, you lost, and then you're trying to kind of turn this to some race shit.
Hey, stop making excuses. You lost. Deal with it.
That's it.
You feel me? Come back and be the champ. But that's enough for today, y'all. Thank you for tuning in with us. Innovative Sports. Under Innovative Sports, this is the boxing segment. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Bolo Yin. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook, BOLO_YIN at BoloYin.com. As well, I'm personal trainer. You need training as far as a fitness coach, boxing coach, get with me. I got Tony Graham here. He's an awesome comedian. Hey. Make sure to follow him. He has a show coming up very soon. I may let him introduce himself, though.
Yeah, it's Tony Grams on IG at Tony Grams, TONY_GRAMS. And it's got some shows coming up, something on the 22nd in Santa Fe Springs at a car show. And pretty much from there, I don't know if we're still doing the flappers shit, because they're talking about like vaccinated only now, like all the comedians. So
vax or no vax.
We'll see what's up.
Do whatever pleases you. We got cool ass Cam on the sticks over there, y'all. Yo, Cam, do your thing, man.